For those of you that don't know, I utterly despise Twitter with a passion. Like, I hate Twitter. Not the platform, but like the people that use Twitter. It angers me so much. So much. And the recent thing with Ada and Emil is a perfect example of why I hate it. It's because Twitter is a place where people yell and complain for the stupidest things, and they act like they are morally in the right and anyone who disagrees with them is evil and that they know everything, when they're mostly like 15-year-old kids who don't know what they're talking about, or they want to act like everyone is wrong because they make some quote-unquote hot take that's really something like, don't be bad, or like obvious, no duh. So people are complaining about... about the Ada and Emil ship. That's not real. It's like it's a fictional character. Which, I mean, I don't mind if people are uncomfortable with the actual ship or don't ship it or whatever. That's fine by me. But the thing is, I'm specifically talking about the people I see on Twitter, in IDV, in Discord, in Reddit, in all these places who are going around saying stuff like, I don't like this ship, and if you support it, you're supporting a toxic relationship, and you're just wrong. Or people on the other side who are like, guys, the ship is canon. It's in the game. So if you don't like it, you just need to leave this game because you're wrong. It's not real, guys. Calm down. Okay? There's nothing wrong about talking about it, but I'm specifically complaining about these people who are doing this, and 99% of them are on Twitter. Because Twitter's a cesspool. You can't get anything good on Twitter. I hate Twitter so much. I could do a whole hour-long rant about why I hate Twitter specifically, but that's a side note. Anyway, I do want to talk about the actual lore and information we learned from these characters in this video. So before the video, just to give you a little bit of background, we had a little pieces of information from the official Weibo for the game where it gave a general background, and people were concerned about the relationship, showing that Ada kind of saw Emil sort of as an experiment of sorts, and Emil kind of relied on her as a doctor to a patient, sort of an unhealthy reliance power dynamic. You can think about whatever you want with that. So people were saying that this may also stretch over to things like Lima syndrome or Stockholm syndrome, which, if you don't know, Lima syndrome is the idea that a captor or abuser develops a positive like relationship with their victim where like they become empathetic towards them. And a Stockholm syndrome is the exact opposite. That's where the victim starts to get an emotional attachment to the captor. And these are in reference to actual historical examples where this has happened. The Lima syndrome is named after a hostage crisis in 1996 in Lima, Peru. Bogota, Colombia, Caracas, Venezuela. I'm sorry, I memorized a song as a kid to help me remember the capitals for like countries and stuff. And Lima, Peru is just one of them, and that line hits hard. That was like my favorite line. Lima, Peru. Anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, and basically they had a whole bunch of captives at this party, and then the captives, the captors actually released some of the captives early because they started to feel bad for them, and they got like an emotional attachment to them, and they're like, oh, I feel bad, I'm going to release you. Not all of them were released, but some of them were. And then the Stockholm syndrome is a situation in Stockholm, Sweden, 1973, where 4 people were held hostage by robbers for 6 days, and when they were rescued, the hostages actually attempted to protect their attackers and say like, oh, they're not that bad, stuff like that. So that's what people were saying that their relationship might be. I wouldn't really call it a captor relationship because it was not forced. Ada did not say, hey, I'm forcing you to... She kind of like forced him, but at the same time, it's not like he said, I don't want to go. It's a bit complicated because he's not super responsive. He was just kind of like, do whatever. But yeah. So I just wanted to cover that because that was like some theories beforehand. And then we got the video. The video. So with the video, let's talk over the actual points. Early on in the video, we get a scene with Emil, and he has like these little forceps around his head. Someone mentioned on Twitter that this looks like it might be what is done during a pre-lobotomy. So like before they actually do the lobotomy, this is how they... That's my fridge in the background. Good job, fridge. Keeping things cold. doing good. Anyway, that it might be them using a prep for a lobotomy based off of where the forceps are, like sort of placed near behind the eye, towards the sides of the head. I am a bit uncertain about this myself because I know that this is not a lobotomy, but a craniotomy. And that is, first of all, if you don't know, lobotomy is the idea they kind of go through the nose behind the eyes and they like mess with the brain. Craniotomy is they actually cut like your forehead open and they get through the bone and they do it. And not only do we know this because of at the end of the video it's shown cutting the bone, but also because during the COA trailer for the characters and for everything happening this year, they had like a scene for a bunch of new things that were released. And when it came to these two characters, the word craniotomy was like floating in the background of one of the scenes. So we know it's a craniotomy. I don't know the exact prep situation for a craniotomy. I tried to do research on it historically, and I found a little bit, but nothing I found was super important for me to include here. We actually still do craniotomies today, was something I found, but it's usually used for specific situations, not because someone's acting weird, but sometimes like you'd use it, say if they have meningitis and their brain is swelling and you need to relieve pressure and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's the craniotomy thing. So there's an important point I want to bring up, which is the fact that Ada is not a surgeon. She is a psychologist. Now, from the limited research I did, I am not an expert on this, and I could be 100% wrong. I'm pretty sure, though, that surgeons were not I'm pretty sure that in the 1800s, psychologists didn't do surgeries. I could be a bit wrong on that, so don't be like, Fern said this and she's 100% accurate. I would need to research more into that, and this is just more of something I'm trying to get out quick with some of my immediate thoughts. I did like a surface level search, so if you have any better knowledge on that than me, feel free to let me know, okay? But yeah, so if that's the case, then she would not have been doing the surgery, but someone else, if that is the case. Now, we see a scene where Ada enters the room with Emil, and she's like, don't be mad. They, quote, haven't discovered a more effective method yet, unquote.
These electrified needles aren't meant to torture you. They just haven't discovered a more effective method yet.
With Emil. So this could be implying that she does not support their use of the craniotomy. Like, she might have seen this happen multiple times in the asylum, and she might be like, I don't support it. That's one interpretation. That's the nicer interpretation. And then the other interpretation is her saying, like, oh, don't be mad about, like, the electrical prods and things they're using. They just don't know anything better yet, and this is only all we can do. So, like, her just, like, kind of dismissing it. So it's either her saying, I don't like what they're doing, and I think my method is better, and I'm going to run away with you and use my method because I think I'm better. Or it's her saying, well, this is the best we can do right now, so whatever. I like to think the former is the correct answer. Not because there's more proof for it, just because it's nicer, and I want everyone to be happy and not mean. So that makes me happy. So that's what I'm going to pretend it is, even though there's a strong possibility that's not what it is. But yeah, so we have to also remember that Ada, her whole thing is hypnosis. She is a master hypnotist. That's like what she does. She is going to practice her skills and help Emil with it. For those of you that don't know, hypnotherapy is a real thing. A lot of people do it. It is still something that is done today, and hypnosis gets a really darn bad rap. Hypnosis is not mind control, y'all. You can't hypnotize people and tell them to do things that you want. You can't hypnotize someone and be like, do this, and they'll do it. If you're hypnotized, you can only do things that you want to do. It's more so like meditation, like getting your mind in a productive state to actually do something. You cannot be hypnotized and do something that you do not want to do. Hypnotism is not mind control, okay? Just like a lot of people don't know that. But yeah, it is a therapy that people still use today. So her whole thing is hypnotherapy. And what my interpretation that I don't actually think is 100% accurate, this is me just painting the best picture I can to make everyone happy, is that she is saying, I don't like your craniotomy. I want to use my hypnotism stuff and get better at it and solve it that way. And I'm going to run away with you. And then, oh no, it's not working anymore. Well, this guy's inviting us to go to the manor. Maybe we can find a solution there. That's my very generous interpretation. My very generous interpretation. The other interpretation would be that they run away, and then she finds out that there's these lobotomies, or not lobotomies, but craniotomy things. And she's like, oh man, this might be the solution for him. And then they perform a craniotomy on him after the fact. That is also a possibility. Now, looking at the video again, we can see in a later scene there is a man with a suitcase, and he comes up to her and he says some words that I can't exactly make out. It's a bit hard to hear, but from what I understand from the translation, he's basically saying, hey, go to the manor. Go to the manor and your problems will be solved. Something along the lines of that. So he might be offering his services to do the surgery on Emil, if that's what they end up doing, or money to help them, or maybe some other potential treatment, magical treatment that will cure his issues. We do not know. So we don't actually know if he has a craniotomy done to him, if he's going to get one done, or if he already did one in the past. We have no idea. But yeah. So that's the general background. We don't really know much at this point, sadly. All I will say is that is their relationship healthy? I would say that it's not 100% healthy, primarily because of the patient-doctor thing. Ada is said in many instances that she sees him partially as an experiment, but she also cares for him. I would not say that that's the most healthiest thing in the world, and he is deeply dependent on her. One thing I will make of point here is the fact that if he did get a craniotomy or a lobotomy or something along the lines of that, one of the primary side effects, I think is the word, I don't know, but one of the primary side effects of a lobotomy, like where they mess with the brain, is deep dependency on people. Like you can still think and you can still feel, but you're far less likely to actually bring your actions into fruition. So it's more like, oh, I don't like what this person did, but I'm not going to do anything about it. From what my brief research on Google showed me. So it's possible he is sort of acting that way. It's possible that he had a craniotomy or something like that done to him, and that's why he acts like that persona. Or it could also just be like he acted like this before, which we can see in the video that he sort of has a similar personality, at least when he's in the car and stuff, that he's very lethargic, slow to respond, sort of like out of it. So we're not 100% sure. Again, if he even had the craniotomy, I keep saying that. Another thing, Emil has that weird vision with the lions, or the dogs, not lions, dogs. I do not know what this is in reference to. It could be the circus. I don't think it is the circus, though, just because I feel like there's so many characters from the circus already. I don't think it's the circus. I just feel like that'd be too on the nose. It might be, though. It mentions sand and dogs. One crazy theory of mine, and this is not backed by anything, this is just me throwing this out there as a wild idea, is maybe it's related to the mafia with Postman, because Postman is related to the mafia in his story, and it would make sense for him to be attacked like mafia dogs or something. I don't know. That's just a crazy idea I threw out there. I literally have no clue if that's actually what it is. Also, we don't know if this character is related to anyone. Only characters off the top of my head that mention a missing guy would be Barmaid, who has a missing brother. I don't think it's Barmaid's brother. They don't look similar or anything. There's the missing boy and... oh, that's weird. There's the missing boy from Mad Eye's deductions, but I'm pretty sure he ends up becoming the DeRoss guy that goes back to the manor. So I don't think it's him, but who knows? Maybe it is, and I've just been wrong this whole time. Or something, but yeah. I'm just talking now. Get some food, actually. And do your homework. If you have homework. Or if you don't, do your work. and eat some food and treat yourself nicely and be happy and know that I may not know you personally, but you know, it's gonna be okay, my dude. It's gonna be okay. I can promise you that. It's gonna be okay, man. That's all. I'd rather there be a bottle in front of me than get a frontal lobotomy.
The facial muscles and the expressions they manifest are inextricably tied to the soul. These electrified needles aren't meant to torture you. They just haven't discovered a more effective method yet. Taking him with me is my only choice.
Ada.
He's silent, melancholy, and mysterious. The pain of his past caused him to lose a part of himself. But from this day forward, my treatments will make it all better.
I know she's helped me get a little better, and I know I'm still recovering, even though her treatments have been helping less and less lately.
The hypnosis experiments have yielded incredible results. But now, they're starting to stagnate.
Those sporadic fragments of memories keep scaring me awake at night. There's no difference between me and a corpse.
Your heart radiates warmth.
I anticipate your arrival, Dr. Mesmer. Should you accept this gift, please spare a thought for my conversation.
We're going somewhere new, Emile. A place where you can find yourself.
Where are we going?